You don't like high-waisted jeans?
I do, but they have to have some stretch because if they're too tight, then I can't breathe.
And then you have a little baby
and I
tire.
have a tire.
Yes. I know.
So I'm kind of into mid-rise.
You can just shut it.
Oh, you know what? I wore mid-rise for a minute, and then my body said, no, you won't be doing that. Well, you know what? I can wear certain mid-rises, but if they're too low of a cut, they hit my hip bone because I have a really...
No, these aren't.
Because I actually have a super high waist. So high-waisted jeans are like normal on me.
Oh.
It's so weird. But I have huge hips and a big ass. And so if I do mid-rise and they cut right across my hip bone, I think, oh my God, I'm so fat. Well, I'm not. It's just they're not high enough and they don't fit right.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We have longer legs than
we do have long
5'3" and
Mom has long legs.
Yeah, so
yes.
Short arms, which is why my seat in my car.
You're the only person in our family who has short arms because my arms are like Freddy Krueger's walking down.
Are mine long?
No, you know, Paula and I have long arms.
You have gazelle bodies.
I do.
I feel
yes.
like when I'm in the car, like I'm not even like that short or that tall, but in my
How tall are you?
I'm like 5'5".
She's taller than me.
I was gonna say you're way taller than me.
5'5.5".
Yeah, she's 5'5", and
Wow.
Mackenzie's 5'6".
Lovely.
They're taller. All my kids are taller than me.
That sucks. Well, Lauren's she's like 5'6", 5'5". Yeah.
Why did we get the short stick? Literally.
Lauren's not short. Well, I don't know.
Annoying.
You know what? She'd hate me for not knowing how tall she is, but I'm pretty sure she's 5'5".
I don't know. Kenzie.
5'5.5".
Kenzie texted me the other day. She goes, "Mom, what's my blood type?" I'm like, have no fucking clue. She goes, "Aren't you supposed to know these things?" I'm like, probably. I can look it up somewhere.
If you've never had trauma and you haven't had any reason to know it.
She goes, "Well, I don't really need to know." And I'm like, "Well, why do you need to know?" She goes, "Well, I don't know." And I'm
curious.
like, what? I'm like, "You want to know if I knew?"
Well, I have the good blood. I have the blood type that
everybody wants.
You can use because you can use it either way.
Oh, is it O?
O.
You have O? I think
O-positive.
I think Mackenzie's O positive as well. I think we all are. No, are we? Can we all be O positive?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know what I am. I should ask one day.
I only found out because I've had so many damn surgeries. They were like, we need to know what your blood type is.
In case you hemorrhage.
Right. Anyway.
We'll do it. Ready?
Sorry.
Welcome to the Ugly Truth. It is episode 565.
Oh, wow.
Ugh.
Oh my God, I'm out of practice. You can't
Guess
tell.
who's back?
I haven't done a show in a month.
Back again. Yes, it's been a while, but that's okay.
There.
My allergies are out of control.
Same. In fact, I've been over here rubbing my eyeballs to death.
I'm
and now
dying.
they hurt.
Well, we have so many fauna and flora around our house. I just want to like literally rip my eyes out.
My house is the same way.
It's horrifying.
Yeah.
Horrible. Anyway, welcome to the Ugly Truth. We are recording this. Now, Tyler sat in for you last week and we talked about how much we hate the Oscars right now.
And that's tonight.
It's going on right now. I was looking at the red carpet and honestly, Stephanie, it's all the same. Everyone's wearing pink.
Oh,
Nikki Hilton showed up. Nikki Hilton showed up. She's pregnant and she's got a little baby bump, but she's wearing literally what could be considered a robe. It's just a robe with fur.
Well, I haven't been impressed with the fashion in Hollywood in like a couple years.
Jessica Chastain showed up in something that's pretty stunning. I think it's Gucci. But other than that,
and by the way, I think she is related to Kate Chastain.
I believe you are correct.
I started doing some research on Kate, and I think Kate purposely keeps that a secret.
Well, because
she will not talk about her family. Kate.
I wonder, Jessica doesn't either.
Yeah, she's very, very private.
I wonder if those two are close, but they hate everybody else.
Could be, or either that, or they're just like, look, if everybody knows we're related, like we can't have our own platforms of fame.
That's true.
And they don't want to be associated in that way because then everybody will talk about them. And that's true, right?
Fair point.
But
Anyway, yeah, so but we're going to talk a little slow in a minute, but really quick, I had to tell you. So as you knew before we recorded, Daryl went to Minnesota last week for some work for the first time in 2 years. It was our first overnight travel.
And what a place to go.
Yeah, it was balmy for him though, luckily.
Well, I don't know anything about Minnesota. I shouldn't say
chilly.
That. Other than it's cold.
It was cold, but not frigid. It was almost as cold here when he left. So that was good. But anyway, so of course, when he leaves, lots of things go wrong because that's just the way things are. You know, a car will break down, a dog will get sick and die. I mean, all kinds of stuff happens. If you ever let anyone house watch or pet sit, you can be promised they're taking someone to an emergency vet and you're going to be Venmoing somebody $600.
Oh my God.
While you're sitting in Hawaii. It's going to happen.
Great.
So anyway, so this is so dumb, but especially in the last two years with everybody doing delivery, everybody's garbage cans are full, like
all
my God, overtime.
Same with us. We always have to keep stuff on the side because it'll have to go for the next week.
In fact, every week. Actually, we went to the dump yesterday and just did a full fail swoop. We couldn't take it anymore. Yeah. We had so much.
I'm so lucky because we have curbside pickup in our city every 3 months.
Oh,
it's free. Well, we have to
schedule ours, and it's only twice a year. Anyway, So I called Daryl. I said, "Well, no one came and got the garbage," and he goes, "Oh no!" And I said, "Yes." And so I'm literally overflowing. I've got garbage everywhere, and I need to dump garbage, and it's only been 24 hours. And he's like, "Well, you got." So I called
the county.
So first, awkwardly, I called the wrong company. I thought I just put in Waste Management.
No,
and that's a private entity, and they're like, "Oh, we don't service your area. You need to call the county."
Well, they're contracted by the county.
I'm like, "Okay, thanks, Jose." So I called.
Did they change your day?
No. So I was the only one in the neighborhood.
They forgot you.
And so I called this woman, and the thing with the county is you just never know what you're going to get. Yeah. It's very random. You're either going to get somebody incredibly efficient, you're going to be on hold for 4 hours, or you're going to get some fool who has no clue what they're doing.
Right.
I got very lucky.
Yes.
I called, and not only did it ring once, I got a proficient, smart, intelligent person. I couldn't believe it. "Hello, this is Jamie, da da da." And I go, "Hi." And so I told her my situation. She goes, "All right, what's your address? La la la." And so I said, so I can hear, clicking away. And I go, "Did you say your name was Jamie?" And she said, "Yeah." And I said, "My name's Jamie." And she goes, "Oh my God, really?" And I said, "Yeah." And so we're like, "Oh, how funny." And then she goes, "How do you spell it?" I go, M-I-N-E-R. And I was being all like, "I thought you want my bill information." She goes, No, your first name." And I'm like, "Oh, Jamie." And she goes, "Me too."
Well, because you can spell Jamie a couple different ways depending.
And I said, I go, "My parents were sure I was going to be a boy because my dad is arrogant and was sure that he was going to sire many sons."
And he never sired one.
He sired all females, which was, better, but still. And I said, so it was between Randy and Jamie. And luckily, my mom put her foot down and said, "We're going with Jamie." And she's like, "My parents said it was going to be Jamie or Tony." Because they thought they wanted me to be a boy. And she was like, "Why'd you do that to me, Ma?" And I started laughing. And so finally I'm like, "Well, I guess," she goes, "Okay, well, they're going to be there, tomorrow, whatever." And I said, "Okay, cool." And then she's like, "Thanks for calling." And I'm like, "You're welcome. I hope they're recording this for you. I hope you get a good review."
They do.
So anyway, I'm like, we bonded. And
they're actually pretty cool at the Waste Management are very efficient.
I like them.
They are.
I don't know.
They are.
What a weird thing to say, but it's true.
No. You know what? I never knew how great they were either until I started working for the county.
Yes.
They are one of the few departments that really have their shit together.
I loved it.
And you want to know why?
Union?
Well, yes, but they make a shit ton of money.
Oh, so they're happy.
You have to be relatively qualified to work there.
Well, sure.
So the people who work there are great. They're wonderful. Smart. They have good experience, and they're not.
It's like that's where you want to retire.
I have seriously considered trying to apply there.
You should. You'd be perfect.
They make more money than I do.
Oh yeah, you should definitely anything about that.
Yeah.
Get that cheddar, girl.
Yep.
Anyway, okay, so some celeb news other than the Oscars horrible red carpet with all the pink.
Oh, I know what you're gonna say.
William Hurt died.
Right. No, I thought you were going to talk about the Foo Fighter guy.
Well, we are going to talk about that, but William Hurt died a week ago. You know what's so crazy is how quickly the news cycles go.
Oh, I know.
Things that were super important 2 weeks ago are no longer important.
I completely have already forgotten. Yeah.
Like, for example, that airplane crash that happened in China.
That's still huge to me.
That is a huge deal.
It's still huge to me. I'm already so paranoid about flying.
First of all, did you see the video of it plummeting from the sky?
There is something up with that. Yeah.
Well, first of all,
it's not. I'm not conspiracy theory.
No, me neither.
It was either a mechanical issue or a pilot issue.
I think it was the only reason I think pilot. Well, I mean, I think
it was a mechanical issue to a point because they said that they were at cruising altitude and they dove for 10,000 feet
and then pulled it back up.
10,000 feet is where you have to be to breathe.
Okay.
Where the cabin does not have to be pressurized,
right?
And you can breathe. So if they were trying to get to where everybody could breathe,
which is what they were trying to do,
then maybe there was a hole in the plane, or maybe something blew out and they could not breathe. So they were trying to get to that altitude, and then whatever was wrong couldn't be fixed.
From what I read, it's almost impossible for a plane to nosedive straight down like that in a straight line.
Yeah.
Now apparently this is one of the 737, but it wasn't the Max, the one that had this is actually a very reliable airplane.
Very much so. It's what everybody flies every day.
So the fact that it was literally vertical And I saw that
Unless
footage.
they had hydraulic problems.
They were straight down.
It was awful.
It looked like in fact, I had to watch it a few times to see. And I'm like, were the wings even attached anymore?
Yes.
But when I saw the crash site, there was nothing.
You know, the only thing I will say is that they really only were in like a terrifying.
In the beginning.
The whole thing maybe lasted 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Do you think they were conscious for 3 minutes?
Yes.
That's terrifying.
I think they were, yeah. I mean, unless the G-forces made them unconscious, which I highly doubt. Other airplanes have crashed like that because Jerry and I watched that show.
Oh, God.
Air disasters.
Oh, God. Why?
Jamie.
You need nightmares? We're like, I need
some
nightmares.
I need to know what to do to survive.
You're not going to survive that.
Some people do survive, but not like that one. So other airplanes have done that same thing. And there was one airplane who the pilots were trying so hard to save the aircraft, save themselves. And it kept doing that, but it was for like a prolonged period of time, like hours. They kept diving and then they would recover and they would get back up to it. And then the plane would do it again. So they were trying to get to an airport because they were over the ocean.
Of course.
That was one of the things that was about this particular is like, they were like, can you imagine going through that terror of diving and thinking, okay, this is it. And then they recover and you're like, oh my God, we might live, and then this repeatedly going on.
That is mental anguish.
Exactly.
Beyond.
And so
did they die?
Yes.
Oh, fuck.
They died. They ended up nosediving into the ocean. But for these people, this was it only happened once and they died. And so when you hit the ground like that,
so fast.
It was so instant. And there's been other times where people have like burned inside the fuselage because they skid off the ground. Yeah. No. And I'm thinking, if I'm going to die in a plane crash,
this is the way to do it.
This would be the only way I'd want to do it. Those 2 to 3 minutes would be hell.
I can't even imagine.
I mean, everybody was screaming bloody murder.
The only thing I can think of
out of their seats because you're so
The only thing I can think of is that some people would die of a heart attack. They would die because of the shock.
You hope.
I mean,
me personally, I would just close my eyes and wait for it to happen. I would just be pray because I pray.
We all pray. In fact, Daryl goes, when I pray? I go, when he goes, when I'm getting on a plane. I go, really? He goes, yeah, but I pray that you won't die. And I'm like, that I won't die? He goes, yeah. And I go,
that's weird.
I go, what's going to happen to me?
You're going to implode while I'm in my room on my phone?
I'm like, look, please, God, don't let a serial killer come.
Oh, God.
And he's like, well, I don't know. I just want to make sure that you're safe and protected. I'm like, from what? You're the one hurtling through the sky.
He's a man.
Jesus.
They feel like when they're here, nothing can happen.
What a shock I was when he told me that. I go, you're not praying for your own safety. You're praying for mine. Please don't let her try to do anything and then have her fall and break her neck. Like when he left, he goes, hey, we're replacing the lights in our master bathroom. And he goes, I need you to promise me something before I leave. And I'm like, and I ignored him. And I was just like, I'm not playing this game with you. And
don't be dramatic.
It felt very dramatic. He goes, and I go, fine, what? And he said, please don't try to put the lights in without me.
Oh, you thought you were going to electrocute yourself.
And I said, first of all, no, I'm not going to do that because I don't do that.
Right. You should know better than that by now.
Handy. I'm like, I'll paint a wall.
You're a little handy.
No, there are certain things I will do, but I will not do electrical and I will do very little plumbing. I go, but there's a lot I will do. Like I'll fuck with my computer till I kill it. Yeah. But I won't, I'll delete important things. I've done that before, but I won't, I won't put in.
I'm not going to stick anything in where I might get zapped.
No.
Yeah.
I go, don't you worry. He goes, okay, good. I'm like, when did you start thinking that I was some kind of moron? I'm like, I'm not. I'm really quite smart.
Yeah.
I go, I'm not saying I'm a genius, but I'm not an idiot.
Right.
Anyway, so William Hurt died. And it's so weird because, first of all, he hasn't really done anything in a really long time.
He died of cancer, by the way.
He had prostate cancer.
Yeah.
And he was only 71, which is actually young in our day and age.
It definitely is.
But, now, hearing basically it's like William Hurt died. He did a lot of great things. He was also an asshole and he was a real angry drunk. And I'm like, whoa, okay. Yeah. Shocking. I mean, I wasn't surprised. I knew about the Marlee Matlin thing. I remember all of that happening. And she wrote a book and was very, very candid.
I didn't know about it. I never looked into William Hurt's personal life before. I did admire him in the roles that he played. I thought
he was a very great, accomplished actor.
He was
not somebody you would probably want to live with.
No. Subsequent to his death, you always find everything about somebody when they die, when they're a celebrity. Like, I know. It's like, okay, now I can tell you what
now
he was
I can
really
tell you
like.
he was, I'm fearful, or whatever.
Well, no, they just don't want to, you can't tarnish someone who's successful in Hollywood if you're not prepared for the backlash that goes with it.
And you got to have the receipts too.
Yeah. And I mean, everyone's going to judge you and have comments to say about you too.
Yes.
So it's like, if you just would rather be like, you know what, forget it. Now he's dead.
Yeah. And she's doing just fine. She's at the Oscars tonight.
Yeah.
So she's doing just great.
Yeah.
In fact, she found out by a reporter that he had died.
I know.
And she was shocked.
That was great.
That's
not great that she found out that way.
No. But I mean,
her response was organic.
It was very organic.
And that's what I was like, wow.
I think the reason for that also is that he did a lot of apologizing.
I'm sure he
did. And they did a lot. He said, we did a lot of healing. He goes, I think we did a lot of healing. I think I apologized and I think I repented enough, but he really gives her all the power, which I think is noble because most people, not a lot of people do that. I do know some men that have done that. And I think it's wonderful because people can change, but
for sure.
And I think he was very regretful and I think that's fine.
Yeah.
So
in my mind, when someone dies, everything bad that they did that goes with them.
It's true.
So
I agree.
Yeah.
Except for Hitler.
And that's why he killed himself.
Exactly. Yeah. So Taylor Hawkins of the Foo Fighters died. He was the drummer.
I've
sad. Seen them live many, many times.
I know. I thought of you immediately when I saw it.
Because I just yelled at you for not liking them.
Well, no, yeah. But you know what? As I was reading about him and their songs and the albums, and then I was like, you know what? She's right. They are amazing because I love all of their stuff. I'm like, I guess they're just not like my go-to band.
Well, no, I mean, everybody's got their thing.
Yeah, you know my go-to bands. Everybody knows them.
You're very classic rocky.
I am.
And it's great. Yeah. I knew a little bit about him, but I had seen them when they went into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame last month. I saw their performance.
Glad that he was alive for that, right?
Yes, I saw their performances. When he talked, he did seem a little yacked. But I don't know him. I don't follow everything he does because he's a very accomplished drummer, and a lot of people who are into
my God, everybody has posted about him.
Every drummer you've Every drummer you've ever heard of.
All of them.
Metallica.
Old, young, new bands, old bands.
Joan Jett was doing a show yesterday and she started crying and said, "This is for Taylor." And I'm like, Jesus Christ. But you know what? Right. Musicians really appreciate
musicians. and really famous musicians. It's a smaller circle than you think.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really, and to be at that level of accomplishment too. And his story is so great. I know a lot of people know it. I don't know if you know it, but he was actually drumming for Alanis Morissette.
Oh yeah, I did know it.
And Dave Grohl's like, "Hey, will you sit in on this because their drummer had quit."
Right.
And he's like, "I'm staying."
Yeah.
And they became best friends. Are we best friends? Yep.
Yeah.
Just like that.
So awesome.
What really, really fucking sucks, and it really got me, and I don't know why I didn't put the two together, but Dave Grohl has lost two best friends.
Oh, I know. I did read that.
And I saw a really cool cartoon of Dave Grohl. I mean, not Dave Grohl, but of Kurt Cobain and Taylor Hawkins together.
Yeah.
Going, "Hey, isn't Dave great?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, you're killing me." Like, it kills me.
Well, everything I've read about this guy is he was almost like obviously Dave Grohl is the front guy.
Yeah.
But he was like the second front guy.
He was.
His personality was amazing. Everyone's
smile.
like, anyone who knew him, he was
God.
the shit. Like he was the greatest guy ever.
He was equal to Dave when it came to getting the audience going. I mean, we saw them in Sacramento. I've seen them a couple of times. I saw them at Bottle Rock, which is iconic. Everybody talks about it.
Yeah. For sure.
And then I saw them in Sacramento. Yes. And then I saw him in Sacramento, and boy, everybody just waits for him to do his thing. And he's just so smiley and he's so joyous.
He's really cute too.
He's very handsome.
He's my type completely. Blonde hair.
Oh my God, 100%.
Yeah. When I saw him, I was like up close, but
why didn't I know about him?
Yeah, I knew about him, but I guess I just never paid much attention. And now that I've seen so much of him on social media, that I'm like, wow, he was cute.
He's very cute. And so
he left behind wife and kids.
Wife and children.
So sad.
And this is kind of like what we were talking about. Like, addiction is a hell of a thing.
Well, I mean, are we sure? Yeah, I know they did find some drugs in his system.
The report came out. Mm-hmm.
But they didn't say that was his cause of death.
No, but he could have had a cardiac arrest due to...
Yeah, or if he was a long time user.
Well, like George Michael died of a heart attack, and he had been sober for many years.
Right, that's what I mean.
But it was from his...
It can just be
years. Yeah. So, I mean, he had his antidepressants in his system, but he also had quite a few other things in his system that aren't legal. And, Colombia is not exactly known for their...
Yeah, he probably just
lifestyle.
did a little too much. That's sad.
Yeah, it's funny. What's been mentioned is that they said this is how Philip Seymour Hoffman died, because he had been...
he was a heroin addict.
So was Taylor.
But he didn't have heroin in his system.
No, he didn't. But
he had like benzos. He had benzos.
Pills.
Yeah, pills.
Yeah, he had a lot of pills. But the point is that he was sober for like 20 years or something, and then he relapsed. Oh, and what a lot of addicts, all addicts, what they do is if they're sober for a really long time, they go back to the last
using
dose,
what they
and it kills them,
and they can't take it anymore. Well, because you build up a tolerance when you're an addict,
of course,
and then if you stop, you don't have that tolerance,
and then
anymore.
you don't remember, and then you do what you used to do, and it kills you.
That happens to heroin addicts a lot.
It does,
because they're like, well, the last time I could take this no problem, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, you haven't done it, and
you basically just put yourself into a coma and died.
Well, he must have been alone too.
Probably, but it does sound like, I don't know, like I'm with you. It doesn't necessarily sound like an OD. It might have just been his heart went nope.
Yeah. I mean, that's how Andy Gibb died.
Yeah, he was sober.
He didn't actually, overdose. He didn't like do too much coke. He had a heart attack. His body just had been so abused.
No,
his heart was just like, I can't pump anymore because you fucked me up for so long. And
when we were talking, Daryl and I were talking about that and how tragic this is. It's so tragic.
It is. He was like 50 or 51.
He was 50.
Yeah, so young,
just crazy young. And so we said, damn, it's like, just a reminder, the Foo Fighters say they're dad rock, but they're a rock band. They're a hardcore rock band. I mean, they're still party.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying they don't, but I don't think they're walking around going, we're the model musicians.
No.
We're clean.
None of them are.
We're drinking kombucha.
There's certain rock bands who have realized, because they're so old now, that the only way they're going to continue to thrive and make money is if they stay sober. For the most part,
right?
Like Metallica,
yeah.
They are like, look, we cannot fucking party like we did anymore.
Die.
We're in our 60s. You know, we're on borrowed time as it is, and if we want to keep making the millions of dollars that we've been making,
so true,
we can't fuck it up. So, but then but then there's the kind of medium bands like the Foo Fighters, where they can still pull it off a little. They maybe just do it a little less than they used to when they were in their 20s.
It's so true. Anyway, so it's a very tragic, sad ending, and I really
sad.
I really hate it that we are at the age now where our
people are dying.
Rock and roll, but people like Axl Rose are still killing it. Rolling Stone's still out there doing another farewell tour. He
is ridiculous. He just had a baby.
Vince Neil is out there killing it, and
they're getting ready to go back on tour.
I know, they were supposed to do it 2 years ago, so now they're going to do it.
Yeah, Nikki Sixx just posted something on social media.
I like Nikki Sixx.
He is. I do too.
I think he's really hot.
I think everybody in that band is basically hot with the exception of Mick Mars. And that's just because
Mick Mars is scary to me. He's always terrified me.
He has that terrible disease.
I know. And the back thing.
And he's always, the back thing. And he's always been a lot older than the rest of the band.
He's far older than they are.
Right.
So he's like he's probably hitting the 7-0.
For sure.
But he always just had this look that scared me.
Look at Alice Cooper.
Alice Cooper
frightens me.
He's like
the nicest guy ever. And he's tiny.
And he's very smart.
And he's really small. Mm-hmm. Yes, he's not a big guy. So
no, he looks like a crumpled up piece of paper.
But his face, like seriously.
Stop with
What's
the
that
eyeliner?
guy's name? The Keith guy in Rolling Stone.
Yeah, that guy.
That guy is like death warmed over 10 times.
He looks like a little piece of lint. And he just kind of wanders around with his teeny tiny jeans.
But
how does he do it? We don't know.
We don't know.
I mean, he gets these super duper hot chicks.
Well, I mean, what's his name?
Mick
Jagger. He, if you really look at him, he looks ancient.
Well, he looks like a mosquito, Stephanie.
But it's like sometimes they can fool you when they're doing their stage thing, but if you really look at Mick Jagger, I'm like, you are like my grandfather. You're like my great grandfather. That's what you look like.
Old.
You are so old.
I know.
It's like, and I just don't understand why they want to keep doing it. Is it because they're like, if I do it, I'll die?
They don't even need the money.
They don't need the money.
They're so rich. So save home, everybody.
Yes.
All the things. It's horrible. I know that we're going to go into some real quick TV talk.
Yeah, dude.
I know that you did not watch the entire season of And Just Like That.
I did not.
And it's okay. I'm going to give you...
I know it's coming back, though. I did see that.
And in honor of the hate watching that will commence next season, and I will absolutely watch it with all my vinegar. And I hate vinegar.
Well, I will finish watching it, so don't...
Are you sure you don't want me to spoil it for you? I'm happy to give you the
You can
rundown.
actually spoil it for me if you want, but I'm still going to watch it.
Okay, so when was the last episode
I have
you
to.
watched? What's the last episode you saw?
I believe it was... How many were there?
I think there were 10.
So I think I got to 7.
So
or 6.
So has Miranda?
So Miranda messed around with the girl in the kitchen while Carrie was recovering, and then what was the episode after that? I think that was 6, wasn't it? That episode?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's probably
it's a blur.
That's pretty much as far as I got.
So has Carrie gone? Okay, so I'll just tell you these are the gists. Okay, Charlotte's dealing with her super pampered, living in a bubble children who are very entitled. And now don't forget, these are people that these writers are trying to, I think, attract a younger audience.
Yeah.
And so they're including all of these buzzwords and buzz situations that they think young people want to see.
Woke stuff.
Super off, by the way.
Yeah,
that is not even what it is. And even young people are like, what the fuck is this overboard shit? Like,
yeah, it's too much.
Well, and the thing is, it's not like these women didn't have women and men of color in their lives or homosexuals or LGBTQ.
They didn't really need to. Yeah.
Like, they had included all of this, but here's the problem. Because Samantha character was no longer included, and she was the one that introduced them to all of this open-minded thinking.
Yeah.
We've got these uptight rich bitches trying to figure it out on their own, and they're horrible at it.
They are. It's so inauthentic.
It was. And so Carrie ultimately decides to go on on Tinder. And so she goes on a date. So she meets this really nice guy who claims he's a widow. They go on the first date. They're both very nervous because it's their first date since both of their spouses died. He's a math teacher in Manhattan. And so they pulled the burger out. And they said, we're going to need a lot of cocktails to get through this. Do you remember when they did that with Burger?
Yeah.
She's like, we're going to need a lot of margaritas to get through this.
Well, they wanted to
try to have sex.
And it was so bad. Yeah. Right. That they were like, we got to get drunk to do it.
So the date was going so poorly, they decided they needed cocktails. So they come out of the restaurant hammered, and he proceeds to throw up all over her shoes.
Lovely.
And they showed it, of course.
Ew.
So he gets in a cab. Embarrassing, terrible, didn't work out. So then Charlotte, because she's a famous author, says, hey, we're doing a school.
Charlotte's a famous author?
No, Carrie.
Oh, Carrie.
So Charlotte's like, hey, at the school, because she's heavily involved in the private school, of course. And they're like, hey, we're doing this auction. Do you mind if we maybe do like a quote unquote date or a luncheon with you for people who are excited? Well, no one was bidding. So fucking Harry bids on her to do a lunch. And then the MC kept saying it's a date with her. And she's like, I am not a prostitute. Like, what are we doing? The math teacher bids.
Oh God.
Because he's the math teacher at the fucking school.
Oh, figures, of course.
And she's mortified.
Oh God.
And so he bids like $5,000 and he's like, I don't need to go on another date with you. And she's like, okay, good. I can't do this. So then she shows up. And they end up going out on a date, and it ended up being fine.
Oh.
But he kissed her, and she's like, I haven't kissed anybody since my husband. Blah blah blah. She tries for around 3, shows up, and she's like, I'm still grieving. I can't do it. So end scene. It's done. None of that. Charlotte is dealing with the child who continually is pushing the limit on what she can get away with. Is the way I look at it.
Name and all that.
So now she's supposed to have a bar mitzvah, but she's no longer, now she's a they. She's a they them or whatever, and her name is now Rock.
Right.
And they're all entertaining this as if it's not a dire need for therapy,
right?
And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but let's be honest.
I mean,
if a child does this at 12, get a therapist.
Yeah, at her age,
which they never even address, which is so dumb to me. It's like we don't just gladly accept that a child has decided, hey, my name's Rock now.
Right.
It's like we need to figure out how to healthily go through whatever you're going through.
Right.
And then the older
and make
daughter,
sure it's not symptoms of a greater problem.
That's what I'm saying. And if
it's not, and this is just an identity issue, then all right.
But what I love is that Anthony, her best friend, is like he's the only one that has any kind of like realism. He walks up, he goes, "Hey, whatever your name is," he's like, "Get your shit together. Your mom has gone through a lot to put this bar mitzvah together. Fucking get over it. Rehearse the Hebrew. Do what you got to do. Stop being an asshole, basically."
Right.
And she's like, "God," but she started doing it.
Yeah.
And so, and then the older daughter is just such a princess. She's like, I don't even know how to put in a tampon. And so it was a whole thing. She's like, Mom, you're going to have to take the tampon out. She's like, I am not removing your tampon, you little brat, And so, and then Miranda is completely in love with this person, Che.
Yeah.
And so she tells Steve all about it, moves out, wants a divorce. Steve is mourning, saying, I will never not be married to her, and he goes, I will never take this wedding ring off. And everybody's like, pathetic Steve, why? What? And they did him such a disservice in the show, by the way. And so she runs off And now Che has been picked up to do a pilot in LA, and Miranda has the opportunity to do this unbelievably unprecedented internship for the thing that she wants to do in law. People pulled a lot of strings for her to get it. She dumps all of it and goes to LA with Che. And that's how her season ends.
Well, what happened to Brady and the girlfriend?
Brady is going backpacking with his girlfriend in Europe.
That's convenient.
Yeah, isn't it? And suddenly they're getting along. And so...
even though they're 17 years old...
Well, now they're... Well, there's a lot of time jumping.
Life. Oh, is there?
Yes, and so he's 18 now. But still, Stephanie, it's so unrealistic. I can't even. And so then... Because
that just resolves her from being a mother and having to be responsible. And let her and she can just go do whatever the fuck she wants to do, which would never happen in real life.
No. Well, and everybody would say, what the fuck are you doing, Miranda? You've lost your goddamn mind.
Right?
But no one told her that.
They're like, do yourself. It's all about
you. I'm not trying to judge, but I'm like... Ugh. She goes, well, you're sounding judgy in the bathroom, of course. And so then Carrie has decided because Big's big brother shows up and is like, where's our brother's ashes?
Oh.
And she's like, oh, well, they're in the closet. She goes, but they're by some really nice shoes.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, listen. He goes, we have a lovely family tomb upstate. We would really like to have his ashes in there. Just let us know and we will have a little whatever for you. And, we want you to take your time, but it's been a year.
Yeah.
So we really want the ashes with the family or whatever.
Yeah. We would like to resolve this now. Yeah.
He didn't want to be there. And they're like, well, then you need to tell us where he's going to be so we can pay homage to him because he's our brother and we love him.
Right.
And she's like, all right, fine. So she decides she has a dream and realizes that he wants to be in Paris. She flies to Paris. So she flies to Paris and it's in the middle of the night and she's in this gorgeous, huge orange dress with her hair high, beehive, how she does, wearing amazing shoes. And she's got, you may or may not remember, but when she did the show, she had a Eiffel Tower clutch.
I remember.
So that's full of Big's ashes.
Lovely.
So she walks and she's on the bridge by herself.
Does she trip and they go everywhere?
Nope. It's very serious. She opens up the bag and dumps it out and all the ashes go into the river. Then she texts Samantha and she's like, I'm in Paris dealing with Big's ashes. Do you want to have a cocktail? Because Samantha's in London. And that's not even a hour-long flight.
Right.
And Samantha goes, I'll be there tomorrow.
Is that how the season ended?
That's how the season ended.
Well, are they trying to bait us into watching the next season, or are they in contract negotiations with
Kim Cattrall? Couldn't tell them fuck off enough.
I know, right?
She's not in it. She's not returning. And even Sarah Jessica Parker said, I don't think I'd want her even if she wanted to.
At this point.
And so my guess is,
which is bullshit. They take her back in a second.
Which is, oh my God, are you kidding?
So fucking
the fans
stupid.
would be rioting.
Everybody is already like, it wasn't the same.
It wasn't the same. Cynthia Nixon has come out and has been completely offended by everyone's reactions to the Miranda storyline.
Because why? Because she's a lesbian in real life?
Yes.
We accept you in real life.
I know.
We just want you to be Miranda on the show.
And that's basically my opinion was, listen, I don't give a shit what you're doing in your real life. Do you be happy? You've been you're doing what you're doing. You're queer. You're out there.
Whatever. Fine.
Great. But you turned Miranda into your biography. And it is offensive that you threw away 30 years of character buildup for this.
I know, right?
She's this
why
shitty of a mother?
Why does she not understand that, she is an actress and we want to see her act?
This is what happens when she got creative control.
Right.
And she's like, I'm doing this my way. Snap, snap. And it's like, what the fuck ever, man? It was horrible.
Then make a new show about somebody else that's a lesbian
she's
from
like,
the gate.
I don't know why people are so surprised. I'm a bit taken aback by the opinions. I'm like,
God.
are you, bitch? Really?
Well,
what?
That's her.
Stop it.
That's her high and mighty, ego talking. That she just figured that no matter what I do, you will love me because you love me. It's like, no, actually, there's been lots of shows and movies that have tried to be recreated or redone, and we ended up hating them, even though we loved them the first time.
Right.
So get over yourself, bitch. It's entertainment.
So apparently, there's going to be a season 2, and I'm just so.
Yeah. Let them crucify it again, just so I can hate it even more, and then I'll be done with it.
I will say this, however, the very last episode was about as close to the show that we love as you will ever come to. Suddenly, Miranda's hair's red again. She's got that same look in her eyes. She's dressed normal, like she should be. Carrie's doing what Carrie does best.
Yeah. Well, I hate what she did with the ashes. I think. Well, that's what she does. She's a selfish bitch. So.
She is so and it's not changed, and that's fine.
Well, I mean, that's who she always was. So, okay.
So, and she's true to form, and you know what? Totally fine with it.
Yeah.
Totally cool. And that's the thing. It's like, if Carrie wasn't selfish, who would she be?
Right.
Like, we don't even know, you know?
So they never fed into the storyline of the model wife. They never
went back to Natasha.
That was so dumb. Why? That would have been so amazing if that had something to it. But they were just trying to get away from Big altogether because of Chris Noth, which is retarded.
So
I know I'm not allowed to say that word.
No, it's fine. But it is dumb. It is so dumb because it wasn't, honestly, when I think back, I'm like, they should have started the show with him already dead.
I mean, yes,
and then we could have done a year. It could have literally opened up with him at her funeral.
They could have finished the show as it was filmed.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have made them tone deaf or any bullshit like that. Because quite honestly, we have all...
I think we're all mature enough.
We have all grown tiresome of hating people that did something 30 or 40 years ago. Yeah. We're over it. It's like, okay, they're shitty humans, and they've always been shitty humans. Or
they were shitty when they were remaking the show in the first place.
But we don't give a fuck. We still want to see Big.
Yeah.
We don't care who he is in real life.
I mean, it's just, if you're not mature...
I mean, unless you're like Harvey Weinstein or something.
Okay, first of all, if you're not mature enough to separate the actor from the work, then don't watch it.
Yeah.
And it's fine.
And it's not like his children and his wife that are of recent came out and been like, you know what, he's been beating us forever. It happened yesterday. He just got out of jail. No. It was like forever ago. It's like, I'm over it. And if
it's true.
And like you're talking about maturity, yes. We have all done terrible things and made bad decisions in our lives that we would rather people not know about. We're just not famous.
Yeah, no kidding.
So I don't care.
I actually get terrified at the thought.
Right?
What will come out when
that's what I'm saying.
If I ever did.
I'm like, these are just human beings, people. They're not people to put on a pedestal.
So anyway, so you're caught up. There's nothing more to know.
Yeah.
So Bridgerton season 2 came out. I
have not started watching it yet, but I did read some brief spoilers.
Okay.
And everyone's like, there's no sex in it. And now the director's coming out that produces the show and trying to defend why.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So everyone's like super disappointed. They're like, wait, what?
No, they're disappointed because the hottie from last season's not in it at all.
Oh, he's not?
The Duke is not in it. This is a completely new storyline.
Well, it's about the girl who was writing the
Mrs. Penny Whistle.
Yeah,
whatever.
Thank you. I don't know. Penny Whistle.
I don't know what it is.
I'm pretty sure that was something like that.
Whatever. Anyway,
it's about her.
I've seen 2 episodes. Daryl is already like,
oh really?
And I'm like, you know what? I'll watch this in another time. This is, I mean, I'm all for escapism and things that are silly, and this is one of those
non-believable. Yeah.
It's fine. I just have to be in the mood for it, and I'm just not. I wasn't.
I haven't started watching it yet.
I finished The Gilded Age, which I guess me and Mackenzie are the only 2 people on the planet that watched it, which is fine. It's very good, but you also have to really like American history and all that stuff, which is fine. So the other thing that I wanted to tell you about besides Bridgerton, what was the other thing I wanted to tell you? Oh, okay, really quick, and then our final TV thing, Top Chef. Are you caught up?
Yes. Are you kidding me?
So good.
It's so good.
These chefs.
I'm so glad too.
These chefs are so fucking talented. I am out of my mind. I'm like, they are literally sending people home who are exceptional.
Well, they're all exceptional. And so it's going to be really like that.
Good.
Yeah.
They're the first 2 eliminations, appropriate.
Agreed, but you don't watch Last Chance Kitchen, right?
I don't. And I know
the first girl who got kicked off, she has won them all.
That's because she's good.
She's great.
I knew she was.
And now that the pressure's off of her and she's not on the show, she's killing it.
Killing it. Then she's going to come back and
maybe. Now we're starting to get down to, I think we're in episode 4 or something.
Episode 4 airs next week.
And last week was a double elimination. So now she's kind of got to go up against some people who are better.
Yeah.
They're getting the good ones, the really good ones.
Well, they're also, because if you're still there, you're doing something right.
That's what I'm saying.
You're not making many mistakes.
That's what I'm saying. So the people who got double eliminated weren't horrible. They just were up against everybody's so badass now.
I'm really impressed with the talent. And I think I don't think there's ever been this kind of talent ever.
Probably not. But
not as a group.
You also there's always to give them credit for the production.
Oh God, it's so
because
good.
they still haven't fucked it up. And I keep thinking, like, you know what? They keep making really smart decisions. They keep reinventing the challenges to where they're not lame or cheesy.
Loved the challenges.
Yeah, they back in the day when they were still trying to figure out the show.
Yes,
they went back and forth between being a serious competition show between some cheesy, stupid fucking bullshit that was like
very,
entertaining.
very challenging. And these chefs are like, I've never made Japanese food before. Okay. You know, it's exceptional.
Yeah.
And they're doing well.
They are doing well. I'm super enjoying it.
I'm
really excited.
So much enjoying it. And
like,
so far,
I didn't even I did DVR it, but I actually stayed up and watched it on Thursday.
You know what?
That was my first time.
I literally look at the DVR and I'm like, okay, it's still recording. And I usually start it when there's like 15 minutes left because I know with commercials I can catch up.
Yeah.
And so but I do watch it as it's recording.
I did watch it.
I love it.
No, this is the first time I've done that.
Oh,
I
really?
never do that. I don't even do it with Below Deck, which you know is my favorite show on the planet.
I know.
I actually always wait till Tuesday, and that's when I watch it, just so I can fast forward.
I love it. Okay, now I've been doing. When you take a shower, do you think about all these crazy? Do you have like crazy shower thoughts, or do you have like conversations that you wish you had that you didn't have? Like,
I do that in the middle of the night.
Oh, you do it at night? See, now
in the middle of the night.
That's crazy. When I'm taking a shower, and Daryl's this way too. It's probably why we get along. We have all these really random thoughts that are they're like great ideas, or they're random thoughts, because I mean a lot of people think in the shower.
I usually think about work, but I take my showers in the morning.
Okay, so I always get these random shower thoughts, and Daryl and I had to get some blood work done. We had COVID, and so we couldn't do it when we were supposed to, and our doctor's like, yo, we need to find out if you have high cholesterol. Can you please? We're like, all right, fine. So we went and I got our blood work done.
Yeah.
Daryl's like, I know mine's bad. I'm like, well, I've been working my ass off. Mine better not be bad. I'm like, okay. So the doctor calls. He's like, everything's improved. You're doing so good. Whatever you're doing, you know, whatever. I've lost a little weight. I've changed my diet.
He's all about it.
All doctors are.
Well, no, he's Asian, Jamie.
I know.
They're very holistic and they're very health conscious.
I freaking love doctors. I mean, I love it in the sense that, I mean, because I wouldn't call myself holistic, but I definitely don't like taking meds if I can help it.
Yeah.
And so anyway, he's like, yeah, keep doing what you're doing. I'm like, yay, thanks. And then Daryl goes, I have to stop eating jelly beans. And I'm like, oh yeah, well, I'm not surprised. I go, you're addicted. I bought a bag of jelly beans, and he's just like, and I'm like, you have to stop. And I go, I've never seen anyone have no self-control over jelly beans in my life.
Of all the things.
He's like, I can't wait for Easter because jelly beans are coming. Oh my! Like, he literally can't wait.
It's okay.
So I idiotically bought them, and he's just like, he just ate them all.
Just don't get a huge bag.
It doesn't matter,
Buy the Jelly Belly ones. And you can make your own size,
Stephanie,
you know?
I have done all the things. Anyway, so he goes, I can't eat jelly beans anymore. And I'm like, yeah, no shit.
Well, it's solid sugar.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I said afterwards, you know what's really weird? There was like, I know I'm super healthy right now. Like, I've done everything right now. All I want to do is just destroy my body.
Because I'm like, oh, good. I'm ahead of the game.
I just want to destroy myself. And so I was in the shower going, why do I want to do that?
A double bacon cheeseburger right now.
I mean, no, we drank a bottle of wine. Oh, we had cheese. We ate takeout.
I just don't deny myself any of those things.
Oh, I do.
I deny myself other things that I think are worse. You know?
Well, I mean, it's everybody's choice.
You know, like 1,000 calories in a cheeseburger to me is just like, who does that? I'm like, but when I want to do like you're talking about, that's what I do.
Yeah, mine is wine because I so hold back because I'm like, it's just so bad for women. It's so bad. Yeah, and
I thought they said wine was good for you.
Yeah, in moderation. Well, but I can clear a bottle of champagne on my own in an hour.
4 glasses. It's
God.
like 4 little glasses.
Anyway,
but you're right.
So I know
to other people are like 4 glasses. I'm like, that's nothing.
It's really,
you stretch it out over a few hours and it's like nothing. Especially if you're eating dinner or like hors d'oeuvres or whatever.
If I go somewhere and there's glasses, I have to be very careful because I just love champagne so much.
I know you do.
I'm like,
see, the thing about champagne for me is that the price I pay for drinking it is so heavy.
See, I have none.
That's what will keep me from going crazy.
Yeah, if I drink too much whiskey, oh my God, I wake up with the worst headache in the morning because there's so much sugar. Yeah, and it's just so bad. Anyway, I was like, why do I keep doing that to myself? I don't understand, but I can't.
It's delicious.
I know. Okay, do you have an ugly and awkward moment this week?
Oh, for God's sakes.
I only have one and I want to share it and then we can close the show.
You share it.
Okay. So it's not my awkward moment, actually.
Oh, it's someone else's?
It's Sasha's awkward moment.
Oh, great.
My dog. So, like I said, we had COVID and we were sick for longer than I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
So when we finally started feeling up to taking the dogs for a walk again, we felt so bad because we had neglected them for like weeks. And so I'm like, oh, these poor animals. And so we said, we're taking them for a really long walk. So we get them all hyped up. Now, the thing with Huskies specifically, at least ours, is they are very vocal. And they're very wild.
Yes.
And they just want to pull and run. And they're just so excited. Sasha is such a good girl on a leash. But when Bodega's, our other dog, is around, he just drives her crazy.
Well,
and
he's the bad influence. He's like, come, do as I do.
And they're like, ah! They're just like yelling. And it echoes throughout the neighborhood. It's like, oh my God. And so...
Well, that's what walks are for, though, is to get out all that energy.
So we're walking them and they're going nuts. And at this park that we took them to, particularly, there was a lot of people walking their dogs.
Is it a dog park or no?
No. Okay. Well, there is a dog park there, but we can't take them there because Bodega does not do well in dog parks.
Yeah.
He's very aggressive.
No, not smart to let him. Yeah.
Sasha grew up in dog parks and she wants to go all the time, but Bodega
can't do it.
And he can't take it if he's standing in the field while I'm letting her run. It just doesn't work.
God. It's so mean.
It's mean.
It's torturous. No.
So we're walking and they're having a grand old time. And this giant bulldog is walking with his friend. And, they're like, oh, they're so pretty. Your dogs. We're like, oh, thank you. Bodega's like, he's all mad. And so we've short leashed him and he's just sitting. And Sasha is like, ooh, a friend, I want to play. So she's running around like a maniac. And I'm like, Sasha, and running around. She's getting me all tangled up in the leash. And
practically tripping you and making you fall over.
Something spooked her about the dog because he like went woof like that.
She's like,
So she spooked and jumped a little bit. And she ran serpentine and wrapped herself around the trash can.
Oh, no.
And it knocked over. And now she's like running in and
freaking out.
All over. And I am attached to all of this. And I ultimately fall because there's no way for me to control this insanity.
Right.
And so.
And how much does she weigh, by the way?
I think she was like 40, 50 pounds.
Okay, well, it's enough though.
She's a big girl. She's big, she's full grown.
Yeah.
And so everybody in the park is laughing.
At you?
At the whole situation.
Oh,
and I mean from far and wide.
They're like, oh.
Like yards and yards away. They're like, ha, 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 and I'm just like,
yeah.
I go, well, Sasha, enjoy your first awkward moment, I guess. Because I'm not embarrassed. But I even said, I'm like, you should be embarrassed with yourself.
She probably,
she was. Funny. Her tail was under her. She's like, I'm so stupid,
Well, right. Oh, but she's kind of still a puppy.
She's totally a puppy. And she's only 2.
But
I'm like, oh my God. It's just, it was absolute chaos. And then the bulldog's
so
like,
funny.
What the hell?
Right. How adorable is that?
It was cute. Anyway, I'm so glad you're back, Ugg.
Thank you. Nice. I know. I've been, you know what? My life is just beyond ridiculous. I'm going through my own issues, which I didn't even bring up because you're going through so much.
It's all right. Well, we'll talk later. We don't have to talk about it right
for sure.
now,
No,
anyway.
mostly it's just my work life is really, really busy. So
I
do apologize for not being available.
Oh, well, you know what? It's fine.
Yes.
It's fine because when we're together, it's gold, baby.
Yeah.
Gold.
Did you see that Kanye got kicked off the Grammys?
Yes, and I'm glad.
I am too.
Go get some help.
Right?
Jesus Christ. Well, I don't judge anyone. I hate it when they're unmedicated though. Can we please just get some help?
He's been like that for a long time.
Since his mother died.
Yeah. He's been unmedicated.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. And I mean, see, this is how important mothers are. If you have a good one.
You know what's funny is I never looked at his Instagram before until he started being crazy like these last month or two. So then I finally started following him on Instagram. He's insane.
Yeah, literally.
He literally goes on there and does these close up long diatribes. And I'm like, who does that when you're as famous as he is?
Bipolar.
No one. Yeah, no one does that.
Yeah, it's mental health is so prevalent. And I know we're in a time when we're trying to remove the stigma of mental health.
I know.
And I really appreciate it. But the reality is if you have mental health, it's still shameful. It is.
Well, it is. It is if you're right. If
you don't go around going, yo, I'm bipolar and get everybody going, good for you. It's not like that.
No, that's true. And especially if you're a celebrity of any stature. And
you have to follow it up with, I'm medicated.
Well, if you
have a therapist.
Hey, guess what? If you're medicated, you don't have to tell anybody anything because no one's looking at you weird and no one's thinking anything bad about you. And you can try to keep it private. But if you're not medicated and you're doing these crazy bipolar things, in public.
I just don't hold any ill will toward him at all. Actually, I don't have any strong opinions about him other than the only strong opinion I have is I want him to get help. And I really hope it's on his own accord.
Oh, it will be.
I don't want anybody to require it.
That's true. I don't think that will happen. And you know what? He's damn lucky that Kim has taken made the decisions that she has to deal with him the way she has.
Yeah.
Because anybody else would have been getting restraining orders and using the law and the courts and all of that.
She has so much money, though. I mean, she can protect herself from him really easily.
She does. But he was doing things that money can't solve. No. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so it's just like, I don't know. I'm glad that he's been social media silent for the last week or two. He really hasn't said too much.
Well, he might be coming down off of...
Well, the Grammy thing was probably a big blow.
Yeah.
Saying, maybe. Look, we don't want you because you're crazy.
Well, now they're talking about pulling from Coachella, and he was the headliner.
He should. They should pull him.
I think they should.
Why? Because he loves to use his platforms to go on his diatribes.
Yes.
And so they're like, look, this we don't want that to be about
Is he going to even do a song?
Shit.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, everybody.